I'm Dave DeBaugh, and this is the 4-Minute Sports Daily. Coming up on the big show today, we take a quick deep dive look inside the National Basketball Association bubble and uncover all sorts of trouble that is popping up inside and outside of the bubble. All of that, and trust me, a whole lot more coming up on the big show today. But we begin with the Titanic. And no, I'm not talking about that movie that James Cameron made 2 years after he made that fantastic movie, you know, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger called True Lies. Like, I still don't know how you go from True Lies to the Titanic. Anyways, the National Basketball Association bubble is clearly leaking at this point, sort of the way the Titanic leaked. Like, you can see the iceberg in the horizon if you're Adam Silver, and the NBA and their staff are basically playing Law and Order at this point and trying to figure out how to prevent this $150 million National Basketball Association bubble experiment from failing. And at times, it seems as if a lot of the players, Rudy Gobert, are working against them. Look, the National Basketball Association issued what can best be described as the first 100 pages of a John Grisham novel as its policies related to being in the bubble. So there's a lot of rules. I mean, there are rules for the rules inside the National Basketball Association bubble. I'm not saying that that all of the rules are good rules. Look, about 70% of that document is useless. What's really important, and the two most important pieces of being in the bubble are the following. One, stay in the bubble. And the second one is, wear your mask. Those are your two primary goals that you have as a player and a coach and a staff member and a member of the media if you're going to be inside the bubble. So the National Basketball Association went out and created a hotline, an anonymous hotline, which, as it turns out, isn't so anonymous as Chris Paul has been attributed in at least two cases so far at the time we did this broadcast of people he reported for violations. So the National Basketball Association is springing all sorts of leaks. It had several players who allegedly crossed the bubble line in search of food. Now, look, there's been all this stuff that came out about the National Basketball Association serving box food, airline-style box food. And basically, that was just for the first portion of your stay on the cruise ship bubble that the National Basketball Association has docked in Disney World. That is really, you just had to eat box food while you were in quarantine. Once you're out of quarantine, you can have legitimate meals. You can have legitimate meals delivered to you. So for a player in the National Basketball Association to accidentally cross the imaginary line is absolutely ridiculous. Then we've got Rudy Gobert and a bunch of other prima donna National Basketball Association players who don't want to stay in hotels that were last renovated, I think, when Jerry Seinfeld show hit must-see TV on NBC. I'm just saying. And then you got players complaining about that. You got players complaining about the food. They're complaining about this. They're complaining about that. Look, at the end of the day, if you can't deal with the bubble rule of not leaving the bubble, and you don't understand why it's a bad thing to leave the bubble and how that could affect and actually take down this $150 million plus National Basketball Association experience, then, my friends, if you don't understand that, you should be exited from the park without having a chance to stop off at the gift shop and buy a Donald Duck coffee mug. Okay. All right. So, hey, thanks. So we ran over the 4 minutes, but thanks for tuning into the 4-Minute Sports Daily. I am Dave DeBaugh. Do check out our website at mighty.rip. The site's doing really, really well. 250,000+ page views last month. And do subscribe to the Mighty Rip Pod channel if you will. Thanks again, and have yourself a tremendous rest of your day.